Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. I want to show you what I got. I'm very happy with it. I got a mill so I can grind whole grains up. This is called a Nutri mill. I got it on Amazon. This thing is great. They have special rules that you cannot do with this. Number one is you have a knob on the top here. I'm going to bring you over. Hold on a minute. I am sorry. Just trying to make room. I have to pick you up so you can see. This is where you're going to grind it. Now if you want a coarse grind, you turn it this way. If you want it finer, you slowly work it this way till you get a really fine grain. But it's marked right here. I guess this is just a medium grain. Now this can only run 10 minutes at a time, and then you've got to rest it 10 minutes. I wanted the green one, but they only had black. So I got the one that I could. And I just had, the reason I'm using it is I have a little bit of kamut left, and I'm going to put it into a bread recipe. This recipe is considered a blue ribbon white bread. It's very good, and I like it, but I'm going to show you how this mill works. Let me take you off the stand so I can show you where everything is, okay? So I'm going to sort of walk you around. Here's the switch right here to turn it on. Yes, I had to grind up some white rice. They said 2 cups before you could use it, which I did do. And this is the knob that you work here. Now you can, there's a button here you press to clean this out. And you can turn it and you'll see the stones in it. What I like about this is it's got 2 stones in it, which is really nice. Let me unplug it and I'll show you. All right, like I told you, there's a button here, you press it down, you turn this. You see here are the stones right in here. Let me pick this up. There are the stones. Hold on. Isn't that neat? They give you a brush to clean it. You never put water on this, never, ever. And to put this back in, you have 4 points here. You have 4 indentations here. This is where you put it, but here's the button that you press down to get them in and turn it. And then it's locked in. All right? Now the instructions on this, now listen. I have to warn you, I saved up for this. This thing was last year $300 and I think $29. This year it went up $100. So I said, before I let another year go by with inflation, it might be $500. So I paid for it with a credit card. I'll be paying for it forever. I was trying to save up money, but as fast as I get the money, it went up in price. Now, to run this, you have to sit there and turn it on before you even run it. Do not pour anything in here. And another thing is when it comes out of this spout here, they recommend that you put a towel over it and you hold the towel to make sure, because there is a fine powder that's going to come up and you'd rather it on the towel than all over your kitchen. So I'm going to turn it on and I'll show you how this works. Now I have it at a medium grind, I think. That's where I'm going to start it at. I'm going to use this flour. There it is. See that? Ground very nice. Now, how much did I grind? I have no idea. But anyway, this is a little coarse, but I don't mind it being a little coarse because I'm going to be mixing it with white flour. But if you wanted it even finer than this, you turn this knob a little more and you run this through again. Don't pack it in here tight. You just put it in as it's grinding it up. If you pack it in, it won't work. It just stops and you won't get it to work. And then you think it's broken. It's not broken. It's just that you sat there and poured too much in before it can. But I have mine coarsely ground, and that's exactly how I want mine, so I'm fine. Let me put this up and I'll be right back. Okay, I think I've got everything. You're going to need 2 cups of warm milk. You're just going to take the chill off it, just like if you were making buttermilk. Another thing I want to mention to the mill, it does not grind up nuts and seeds, only grains. So I have a special little grinder that I use for those if I have to grind those up. So you're going to heat your milk up, and just to take the chill off, you're also going to need 1/4 of a cup of melted butter to make this recipe. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm heating my milk up. But I will turn you down. You can see I'll be putting everything in this bowl. Here's my 1/4 of a cup of butter. Remember, stir your milk to make sure that the heated milk at the bottom comes up to the top and it's all heating up at the same time. Other than that, you'll think it's cold and it was finally warm on top. The bottom is too hot. So here's my 2 cups of milk. Don't worry, we'll get everything in. How much salt? One tablespoon of salt. Okay, that's a lot of salt. I've made this bread before. The only thing I'm doing different is I'm adding some whole grain to it. I play around. I've done so much cooking I can play around into the kitchen. 2 tablespoons of honey. Do you want in here? We want 1 package of yeast, which is 2 1/4 teaspoons of regular yeast. If you have a package, it's just 1 packet. 1/8. There's 1/4. I know you haven't seen me make bread in a while because it's been so hot and I've had so much to do. Today I got my bananas, my mushrooms dehydrated, but I have to take care of my lemons and canned lemons. I've got to put my bones on and cook those. So I have a lot to do today. Now with this mill, you could actually grind a grain up finer than this, but I don't mind having the coarse grain this time. I just don't know how much I have here, so I'm going to have to measure it out. Now if you just want to make this white flour, don't put anything else in it except white flour. That made 1/2 cup. That little bit made 1/2 cup. Isn't that nice? So there's my whole grains going in. And I'm adding 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. If you just using plain all-purpose flour, it'll be 2 cups. Because you're not using the whole grain. I am. Now, if you don't have that and you have whole wheat, you can use 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour in place of the white. Add another cup so I can get this beaten. And somebody asked me, you talk so soft, why? If I told you what I was told as a child, you would understand. No man likes a loudmouth female. And that's what I was taught. If I'm frustrated, my husband will hear me go to the bedroom and scream, "Ah!" I get frustrated. And if that doesn't work, make bread or clean house. You'll work it out. Add another cup. We're waiting for it to get to it. Excuse me, I was eating banana nut muffins this morning. I told you I made them yesterday. They are so good. One of my sons says, I'm taking 4 to work, Mommy. I said, okay. He knows how good they are. Okay. I think we can move this to the counter or your work area, whatever your work area is. I'm going to put a cup and a half on the work area. That might cover me. Might need another half. And remind me, take the spoon out of my flour, please. So I got a lot to do. We got one day coming in that's going to be 90, so I'm going to try to get as much stuff as I can. I want to get my mango. I actually have to get all this fruit dried so I can make the trail mixes that my sons take for a snack when they're out. Or when they come in and they're hungry, it's sitting there if I don't have a dessert or any bread on hand. Which you know I haven't been baking. We emptied. I've only got like 3 rolls left. We went through all that baking and stuff I did. But at least I didn't have too much to do. And I gave a piece of the maple walnut pie to my girlfriend. She texted me at 10 o'clock last night while I was asleep. I got the message this morning. What did you put in it? Delicious. It is very good. She said she put whipped cream on top of it. I said I hadn't had it that way. I just had it with the nuts, but I'm going to make some whipped cream today and put it on top of it. But it's delicious. If you like maple syrup, you're going to love that pie. Maple walnut cream pie. I'm trying to get this to where I can start kneading it. When you beat your dough, you don't have as much kneading to do. That's why you see me beat it so hard. Oh, this has a nice smell to it. I've only known 2 people in my life that did not like the smell of bread in their house. Only 2 in my whole life. In 71 years, only 2 females that I hate the smell of bread. I had some beautiful military because I grew up in Bevo, which was a military base until the Bush family closed it down. Oh man, God, when those sailors had a barbecue and they got together, oh my God, there was an airport. They even had Navy there, though they weren't on the coast, and Air Force there and stuff. When they had a barbecue, they brought out their steaks were like this. I mean, they drank and they ate and they had a good time. We didn't have music going when we sat there and had barbecues and stuff and parties. We didn't have blaring music at all. People came and they talked, and they entertained and everything else. But it was never blaring and drinking to where you're drunk. They weren't drunk, man. They ate. It was like they got together, the men and the women got together, and the women would talk in their group and the men would talk in their group. And I'm sure the women talked about, I know one woman, she babysat me one time because my mother had to go somewhere. And my brothers were with Nanu. My father was working. And I was watching her cook. and she was talking. And she had two little ones. And I used to watch them while she was watching them and cooking. So when we had parties, they were much different than the parties of today. Today everybody's loud and everybody gets drunk and high and sit around talking. And then they go inside and talk and leave the radio blaring outside for everybody else to hear, not thinking that other people have to go to work or anything. There was a code. Matter of fact, our radios and stuff were made in the USA, and the United States government had put a limit on how loud you could play it. Then when the markets opened up, trying to decide, they put it full blast. That's why people can have loud music now. You couldn't have it before. You turn as loud as you want, it was only going to go so high. So, as much as people say things are better, no, I don't think they are. That's my personal opinion. So if we went inside, we could not leave the radios going. We took them inside. And by a certain hour, by 10 o'clock, it was quiet. Nobody blared. I don't know who these people think they can go blaring music like no tomorrow. Our transistors weren't loud. And when you went to the movie theater, it wasn't that loud. People can't hear, people losing their hearings. I mean, I get it all the time. I'm 71 and I can hear, and they're telling me, do you want a hearing test? Do you want to have a health aid? I said, why do I need a health aid? I mean, my God, I'm feeding 2 children, I've got 2 cats, I feed the birds outside, I've got a garden, I've got a house to care for. Why do I need another mouth in this house? No. I don't want somebody else's food. Come in, they're gonna sit there and buy instant this and this. I'd be throwing everything out. Don't bring it in. Now, I didn't add any wheat germ to this because the kamut is a whole grain. It's got the bees and everything in it. So I just ground up what I wanted. And then I sat there and put it in. And if you notice, look at the flour. It's got a slightly different color to it. And I don't think I'm going to need this flour. It's not taking much more. Now, this is what they call smooth and elastic, okay? That's what it's got to look like in order for it to be at that point where you're ready to rise on the second. Now, I have to wash the bowl, and I will be back. Okay, you're going to grease the bowl. And you say, why don't I do things different with a sourdough, covering it and stuff? Because it doesn't need it. It has the microbes that they pick up in the air. This is only 1 micro. So to keep your bread from drying out, you do it. Put it face down, or top down if you wish to say. Then you flip it over, make sure the whole thing is greased. Put a towel over it, and we're going to let this rise till double. What towel do I want to put on it? Well, let me see. I just run out of room in this kitchen. This kitchen does not have enough counter space to cuss a cat in. Sometimes I have to move to the dining room, sometimes the kitchen table. I just don't have enough room. Anyway, when that's double, I will be back. Okay, the bread has risen. I'm going to call this Kamut bread because I did add that flour into it, so it's not like the original recipe. It's doubled, so what you're going to do is punch it down. This is to keep it from collapsing. Once it collapses, you lose it. We have to grease 2 9x5s. Pan size does matter because if you sit there and put a different pan size than what it calls for, your cooking time is going to be off. So then you're readjusting for your pan size. That's why you always use the pan size they say. Some recipes I can't make because I don't have the pan yet, and some I do, so I use what I have until I can get. So this is why with a lot of cookbooks I got a lot of recipes. And I keep on adding. Like to make some breads that I want, I needed a mill because I'm going to have to grind it. I'm also going to have to go to Amazon and order flake grains. So I've got a lot that I have to do so I can introduce these breads to you in different ones. But I just have to go one step at a time. Because every time I buy cookbooks, I end up buying more equipment. That's why my husband, he would go to the store, not to the store, but he'd go to a restaurant place where they sell restaurant equipment. They used to come in with some beautiful things. I had a whole cast iron set. And when we moved, somebody, I'm being polite when I say they 5-finger discounted the whole set. So I know they could go hunting and have a fireplace out there, fire camp, and cook and not worry. They had pans. Mine. Okay. But if they enjoy them, well, I wish them the best. What you're going to do is divide this up. And we're going to roll it and we're going to shape it. I see I just divided it. You shouldn't need any more flour. Just going to knead it some. Keep it active, going. This tickled pinks when you knead. The yeast just loves it when you do that to it. It's tickled pink. I guess it's like a massage. You know, when your feet hurt and somebody massages your feet and you feel so good. I guess I could say it feels so good. Make sure you pinch these because if you don't, your bread will come undone when you're cooking it. And that's not what you want. You want an oval shape. Always go back and pinch it and pinch it and pinch it until I get it together. See? It doesn't always hold and you have to work a little harder at it. Yep, there. Seam side down. Always. They used to say, fold it, roll it, then fold it over, and go a little pinches, and then take the ends and fold them in. I found just pinching the ends did a good job for me. And see, you can see the kamut. You see the little particles of kamut? I don't know if you can see them, but I think you can. That's why I'm going to call this kamut bread. Now you're going to put these two loaves to rise. And when they get to the edge of the pan or a little higher, they'll be double. They'll actually fill up they'll fill up the whole bottom of the bread pan and a lot up to the side, and it'll be doming on the top a little bit above the rim. Then we'll be ready to move to the next step before we bake them.